Hi there, this is Sheena Rowlands and today I'm sharing with you my latest Simple Stories Saturdays for this lovely once a month YouTube hop. So the Simple Stories ranges I'm going to use today, I'm using a mixture of Simple Vintage Botanicals and Simple Vintage Cottage Fields. Now I've mixed these two collections together in my stash, so I can't tell you exactly which one is which. But the colours are all really nice, they all go together and they're all nice pastels. So I'm looking to actually do a bit of stash busting today. So this is a scrap piece of 12 by 12, it's very thin. I think it came out of a page protector and I'm using it just so that I can draw the design on that I want to use. So I'm actually going to do this fan shape using different papers for each piece, or maybe a combination. I haven't quite got that far at this stage. So I'm just drawing it out using my photo as the guide of where I want to start. I've also numbered the pieces before I cut into it, and that is something really worth remembering if you try this, because if not, you spend half the time putting it back together like a jigsaw. So I'm just going to lay it out again, and then I'm going to have a look. Oh, first of all, I'm looking at all the papers that I could potentially use. So the idea was that I could actually fit most of these onto 6x8s, because I obviously must have had the 6x8 paper pad for both of these ranges. So I'm going through all those, seeing which ones I like, what sort of combinations. It is a picture of a baby. My daughter's become an auntie, so they're really chuffed. And so I wanted it to be soft colours. So there is a couple of 12 by 12s there, and there are a couple of those wedge shapes that I've cut, which will have to come from a 12 by 12. And this is one of them. So I've cut that first, and I'm just freehand cutting them. I'm actually going to rough them up later on, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm just drawing around them with pencil and just cutting them out with scissors. And I'm just looking at the colour ways and seeing some of the patterns, whether they would work or not. I like these diagonals. There's a couple of pieces of paper I've got that actually are got a number of colours in, so that means that it all blends nicely together. And it's quite good to be using some of the 6x8 papers. I know I buy them to layer behind the photographs, but obviously I'm not using them enough. So this way they're definitely getting a chance to shine. Also, just by cutting these bits from hand, using the templates that I've already made up, is really therapeutic, a really nice way to spend an hour or two scrapbooking. So I'm just actually enjoying choosing the papers and cutting the pieces. Now there's a couple of pieces that I'm cutting that you'll probably notice that the points are missing because the papers aren't quite big enough, but because they're being tucked behind the photograph, it doesn't matter if it's not whole, it's not the end of the world. And as long as you can't see the end, that's okay by me. It'd be a shame to pass up one of these nice papers because it was just, a centimetre or so too short. So I'm just introducing a darker pink. I think that goes quite well with the pattern papers that I've chosen so far. So I'm now starting to think ahead, that gap at the top, and I would like to add a bit more pattern maybe. I really like this blue flowery. I think that's really nice. I think I own that in the 12 by 12, but I think the pattern was too spread out. So definitely the smaller patterns work really well. So I'm going to try and balance the colours around. I think a couple of them I do recut, which is, I'm trying not to be too precious. The idea is to use up and make the most of these lovely papers. So that is exactly what I'm planning to do here. And this layout could look completely different done in another range of papers or another range of simple stories. You can have like autumn colours going along the top there, or Christmassy ones. I mean, you could even turn this on the side so that all the fans go out to one side, and you'd have either a portrait or a landscape photo. So this sort of design has got lots and lots of variations. So I brought in a really dark piece in the centre there. I feel like it draws your eye down to the photo, and it balanced the other two darker pink pieces. Off camera, I've sewn down the edges of them, and now I'm going to rough them up with my distresser before I actually stick them down. So I want to see the gaps between them. Don't particularly want to see too much of the white cardstock, but I want to know that they're actually separate pieces. So yeah, so I've just whizzed down those, and I've just cut the ends off because it's not going to be seen. So they're all distressed now. So the idea is to start to stick them down. So I'm thinking of doing a bit of mixed media first underneath the photograph. In in the long run, it's not very visible in the photographs. It's more visible in real life, sometimes because the cardstock's a little bit wonky now. But I just wanted to add a little bit of like a baby pink there just underneath that photograph. So I'm just using the packaging technique and these Artist Loft paints, which I think all of us have had over the years. And if I think it's getting a bit dark, I'm just dabbing it off with some kitchen roll, mainly because I'm trying to stop too much water soaking into the card. So you can already see it's a little bit bobbly there, and I'm just giving it a dry with this tool while I have a think whether I want to add any more paint or not to this. So the next thing would be to transfer the pattern across from the other piece onto this, and once I've got it reasonably flat. So I'm going to start with the corner piece. I'm not very good with wet glue, I get a bit messy, so I'm going to start with the corner and get that into position, get the edges bent up. I want some nice texture with this, and I'm going to systematically work my way around sticking them down. It's as I say, the points will be covered. There we are. And now I think maybe I should layer the photo on a couple of papers, all to blend in together, all still from these two ranges that I listed at the beginning. I'll list them in the comments as well. I think they're from last year. I think one of them could be the year before. But as I say, I do store all my manufacturers together once they're not this year's season, if that makes sense. So all my Simple Stories are in a box together, not in different bags, but so if I want to put my hand on Simple Stories or Paige Evans, I know exactly where I'm going for them. So as I do find that manufacturers use very similar colourways, and then you can blend different collections in together. So I'm now looking at foam words, chipboard words, various bits of ephemera. I just don't feel that this layout needs very much, but it needs something in line. And that hello, I was surprised when I put it down because it is so black, but with the black and white photo I think it can take it. So that's the word I chose. So I was really pleased to use up that piece out of the stash, and I'm just having a look what other bits and pieces can go along. So that's a Shenanigans heart. That's an embellishment that I make myself. I've got a little website if you're interested. I'll list that below. And now I'm looking for something to go on the left. That takes me a little bit longer to find what I want. And I try all these flowers. In fact, some of these flowers I've got in 3 different sizes, but I feel like they swamped the photograph too much. So I just keep playing around, knowing that I will eventually find the right thing to attach. So I've decided I cut out the name of the baby from one of the papers using a metal die, and I've stuck that down underneath the hello. A little chipboard butterfly going in there, and then I decide on some flowers to go on the left hand side. I think there's so much going on above with the papers, and they're all drawing your eye into the photograph, that it doesn't need too much to finish this off really. But I'm really pleased with how much paper I've actually got used up. Obviously there's still plenty, as you saw, but really good start. So I've got that foam butterfly there on the left, and I'm just putting some foam pads under the flower. Because of the depth, due to the distressing, everything's a little bit raised. So I'm just adding some of these little glass, they look like water drops. Do you remember these? I've been having a tidy up in my room and I found a few, and I thought they were perfect little embellishments to dot around the embellishments. So I'm going to bring in some wet glue and stick those down. Just a few, just as a finishing touch. This is the Nuvo adhesive. Somebody recommended it to me recently, and so far I've had no mishaps because wet mediums and I are not the best of friends. Anyway, if you've liked what you've seen, please hop round all my friends in this hop. Some really lovely designers taking part, and you'll see Simple Stories in completely different light when you see it used by all of us. And if you like what you see, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and come back and watch something again soon. So thanks very much for watching, and bye for now.